Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collected podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, and welcome to TFYLP, episode 374 for Monday, March 30th. Today, I've got Anna.
Good evening.
I've got Sean.
Hello.
And then we got Paul.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday.
I didn't know it's Monday.
Right.
It's hard to tell.
It feels it's Groundhog Day. It's a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Been Groundhog Day for quite a while for me.
Yeah, as I say, nothing really changes for you, right, Paul? So
sad to say.
I'm telling you, it's Groundhog Life. It's not Groundhog Day anymore.
Is everybody cutting out for you too, Lucas?
no, it's been fine.
You
My
just
Wi-Fi must suck.
Yours
just-
is, yeah, you're
cutting
cutting
out.
out a little bit.
I don't cut out. I just turn into a robot.
Yeah,
I've
now
been
you're
on
like
purpose.
pixelating. Do you have like the Dawn internet, Sean, or?
I do now, I guess. Never used to, but now since everybody's home like me,
Yeah,
we're all on the Wi-Fi's.
right.
I thought they got rid of those really important data caps in this time of need.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right, but the wife and the kids are probably upstairs watching Tiger King or something, and
She does want to watch Tiger King. I'm just like, please no. It's just a movie though, right? It's not like
it's a
10
documentary.
episodes.
I don't know
It's
how
not-
long is it supposed to be. I don't even know.
10 big ones.
Yeah,
10 episodes.
Dude, the only reason I'm not watching Tiger King is because I'm right here.
Oh my gosh.
it's
All
quite
right.
interesting. It's very interesting.
Interesting. You all have fallen for the current hype.
Yeah.
Trust me. The only reason anyone not watching that is just a Dumbo, because it is amazing television. It is just it's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life, although it definitely has some sads, some big sads that make you wonder why you're here.
I'd rather be watching the Ozarks. Maybe I can talk under watching Ozarks first.
Hey Seb, how's it going for France? I guess he's checking in here. So nice. How late is
That's
it in
good.
France right now?
Merci.
Must be like 2, 3 in the morning, something like that.
Goodness, I'm terrible with time zones, so I have no idea.
Yeah, probably about seven hours ahead.
I think London's 7, so I don't know what time zone they're on.
In the French time zone.
Yeah. So, but
So should we get this dog on the road, or?
So
however you
I
say
guess
it?
if you
What?
don't want to watch Tiger King, yeah, I was gonna say this is it. This is the show, Anna.
Let's get this dog on the road. Let's kick
God.
this baby in the
Yeah.
ribs. Wait, that's not the horse. Yeah, maybe.
No.
The horse
Dog
out
on
of the
road,
barn,
that's right.
in the barn. Is that
Yeah.
something like that?
Let's get the chickens in the coop.
I got this. I know my colloquialisms. So tonight we're supposed to be talking about things to do to keep yourself from acting like we currently are, where we're acting a little bit unusual since we're all cooped up.
Well, one of the things, I don't know about you guys, but I actually started to do hangouts with my other non-podcasting friends. So we started getting on Zoom and whatever, and like just sitting back and chit-chatting. I was telling my friends, I was like, yeah, we should just start a podcast ourselves, like, whatever. Just might as well record it and throw that up, too.
Did anyone see that or not High Times, but the Hard Times article talking about the dangers of this quarantine and there's going to be a rise in bad podcasts?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Oh yeah, Sergio put that in our podcast group.
Yeah.
It's like, please refrain from starting any podcast while you are stuck at home.
Don't worry. Lucas and I already started a podcast like over a year ago. So we get that out of our system.
Yeah. We were
Let's get that dog on the road.
We're ahead of the trend on that one. So
we sure were. We got the dog in the road and we just went.
Over the dog? Oh no.
No, with the dog.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, you have to coexist with the dog. Obviously.
You like dags?
So that's one of the things you can do is get together with your friends, or we also have the TFYLP Discord that we started before this whole thing, but it was impeccable timing. So if you want to join the Discord, there's a link in on the YouTube page, and I can't remember if we have it on the Facebook and whatnot. I know we shared it in the groups and all that thing as well. But yeah, if you want to join us on Discord, we chat and whatnot, we have that going. Well, at least Anna is on there, and I think Paul is sometimes too, right?
I actually haven't checked it out, but I know Mr. Starscream made a bit.ly link for it that I saw posted on the last TF Talk News.
Yeah, it's usually me and Mr. Starscream and a couple of our fans chatting most of the time. So we're pretty active. We're usually talking about really, really serious stuff.
What is a Discord?
It's like chat. So it's pretty much the same thing as like Facebook chat, except for it's just on a different application.
It's a program you can download from the internet that you can use for social networking with your friends and family.
And then use the link that Mr. Starscream has posted.
Well, just like it's bit.ly/TF Talk Discord. If you put that in your browser, it'll just like take you straight there. Because Discord is a chat program like Slack or Zoom, I guess, is a video one everyone's using now. But it can be used in the browser. It can be used on the desktop as a standalone app on your phone, just like you were saying. So yeah, if you use that link, you can get attached to it and then get into it however you want.
Yeah, look at it this way. It's like basically that way you have an easy mode to go talk to a bunch of Transformers dummies if something just catches your eye. So if you see something like weird for sale or somebody's weird looking custom or someone posted those inverted, like a whole set of inverted RCs into horrible body horror the other day. Oh, that was so lovely. And I really should have shared it in the Discord because that made me very happy. That kind of stuff, right? Like we can just do whatever in chat, and it's also a good place for us to share, if we find good sells or if we see a new announcement or if Mr. Starscream makes something and wants to solicit all of us to it, it's all that type of stuff that's usually fun.
But yeah, like if you don't, I know some people don't use Facebook, and so I think we just kind of started this as something that's not necessarily Facebook, and you can still kind of have some interaction and whatnot. So, because, we have the Twitter as well, but it's,
I think something that's nice about it is that it's actually chronological, as you're used to with chat rooms, where like Facebook, it's hit or miss if you even see, things people say. Kind of like, everything's filtered these days. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube. Like I can't actually see. I'm expecting to see like new TFYLP stuff at the top of my like feed, and I like have to go search for it myself. It never shows up, even though I'm like on the notifications and stuff. So in these chat programs, you see the real timeline of what people say. So you won't miss anything.
It's true. And you can even use it as a launching point for other things. So something I've been trying to get our group to do, and really it's just me not having started it yet, even though people are like, yeah, I'll do it with you if you try it. But one thing you can do is there are several programs out there that allow you to basically, if you're watching a video, you can stream that video stream so that other people can watch it with you. I know there's one that's specifically for Netflix that everybody's been talking about recently. I don't know a specific one that I can tell you is the best, and I don't know like what might be in it for them as far as ad revenue or anything else, but there are several different program or websites you can use to do that. And I've been thinking it would be really fun just to kind of host that sometimes, put the link up in Discord, and then, say I start watching like Master Force or something, and people can just pop in and watch old Japanese Transformers cartoons with me. And it could be fun times for everyone to do it together, because watching videos on the internet with your friends is kind of like watching TV with your friends. It's a good simulation.
We tried it a few weeks ago with mixed results for the Cyberverse thing.
You just don't want to stream it live onto YouTube if you're doing copyright
that
material.
Like just watching it with your friends.
Yeah, this idea is it isn't streaming per se. It's just sharing it with specific people that you know. So like I could put it up, share the link with just all of you in the Discord. As many of you can pop in there as wanted, whatever. But nothing's being recorded, right? But since Discord is also a chat service where you can use voice, you could either talk in the Discord to talk about the show that we're watching, or you could pop into the voice channel. And, if you like talking over your cartoons, you could. Or you could text over the cartoon instead so you don't have talking over it. I know a couple people when I mentioned, ooh, let's watch stuff together and chat while we're doing it, they'd be like, ew, I don't like talking during my cartoons. So, whatever. It's your own preference. I like talking during my cartoons.
I really want to do this because I already tried it with the Cyberverse thing, and it was so fun for the
it's really fun.
2 hours that it worked. But like, I would love to do it with Cyberverse again, because I have been holding off getting caught up because I want to go through that with people. And then if we figure out a mode that works, I really want to watch the Transformers animated movie with like some super nerds on the internet. That would just be, I think that'd be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and something that like without big cons this year, we haven't got our like yearly dose of it. So it'd be a good thing to do. Or as Ron just said, we could do Bay movies and we could badmouth them the whole time, as people like us tend to do. Although, well, I won't get into that. So that's an example of what you could do. You could use your fandom to get together with other nerds on the internet and watch cartoons, because a couple of you at least claim to have seen every bit of Transformers fiction that's ever been animated. Sure, that's fine. But there's people like me, there's a bunch I haven't seen. And there's a bunch I haven't seen since I was like not very old. Like Beast Wars, right? I was like 12 to 14 years old watching that, and I didn't pay that much attention, so that would even be worth watching again.
Yeah. Sure, I would power through it.
Paul, we could start with Cyberverse, so you can be happy.
We don't have to start with it. I would power through Beast Wars with you guys, at least. I would do that.
See, I think it'd be fun to go back and watch Transformers Prime again, or maybe Transformers Animated. Like, I just think both of those were two of the better like fiction that we've gotten for Transformers.
I'm all for either of those because they're actually good.
Right.
Beast Wars is also actually good, but perhaps some people disagree.
Right. So, yeah, and like, I mean, of course, the Transformers animated movie is classic, but some of the G1 episodes can be, hit or miss, just depending on the episode.
If there was a way to make content out of it, like actually something that we do in live, and then like actually people can rewatch it and maybe queue up the film, it'd be great for everyone to pick like their favorite episode of G1, and we all watch it and see what was good or bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of all the going back and watching Transformers and old cartoons and stuff. If nobody's aware, Tubi, Tubi app, that's a great place to watch a bunch of old cartoons. They got all the Transformers basically, and they have Mummies Alive, which I stumbled upon again after 25 years. I'm like, oh yeah, and I watched like the beginning of like the first episode, and it's actually not so bad. And they have gargoyles on there also.
Oh man,
what's Mummies Alive?
Yeah, I've never heard of Mummies Alive.
Is Mummies Alive really that old, Sean?
It's old. It's like the early mid-90s.
Isn't that like a cereal?
No,
you can't eat it. It's something you
watch. It's about 4 mummies. They get brought back to life in modern times. They have a pet cat. They all have special powers, but when they first like wake up, they're just regular mummies. But then they're special like scarab. What do they call it? They're like the necklaces they wore and what? Anna, help me out. You're the intellectual.
I don't know which one because I don't remember anymore.
Well, they have these
or something.
One has a scarab, one has like a cat, and they take on the powers of them. The biggest guy is missing an arm, but his power is like he gets a big metallic strong arm, so like he's like the bruiser of the group, and no, it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of like Thunderhawks as far as like the way that they gear up, and it's cool. Check it out.
Zaldron.
Wait.
Thunderhawks?
Are you talking about Silverhawks or Silverhawks or Thunder? I've never heard of Thunderhawks.
You never heard of Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. Okay.
Thundercats, Silverhawks. Yeah.
Silvercats.
Did you combine the two
together?
Because I would totally go for a Thundercats / Silverhawks. Crossover.
It's definitely interesting if nobody's seen it.
No, I think it could be fun to watch a bunch of those old shows too. We should start with Transformers because we're a Transformers group, but I think we could definitely bridge into other stuff if we wanted to. Like I just stumbled upon on Twitch the other night, somebody was playing the old Galaxy Express 999 movie, and I had never seen it. Like I've seen some of that director's other work, but I hadn't seen that. So that was just nice to watch and relax and just kind of. I don't know. It would have been a fun thing to watch with other people, too, because they probably would have been mostly as lost as I was. It would have been great times.
I think the word I was looking for was amulet. Go ahead.
Amulet. Okay. See, I thought you were talking about the item on the amulet, but hey.
But yeah,
maybe.
As far as for Transformers, that Tubi TV is pretty good. Like
it is.
You can watch that on your web browser. They also have apps on like Roku and smart TVs and all that as well. So I know I think I watched several different old animated and some of that kind of shows. So, but
yeah, there are many ways to pull this off, so it can definitely be done. And it doesn't really require that much creativity. I think it does require a good internet connection in order to do it, so whoever's hosting does need to have a good internet connection. I know I do usually, so as long as I'm not in this room is the monster. But anywho, so that's a fun idea that we've proposed that no one else had ever thought of before. Ever.
We're real pioneers.
Yeah.
Pioneers.
So then you can just like binge like marathon all the Bay movies until your head explodes.
Sick. Until you're sick from it. That's right, Rodimus. I choose to use my live stream from the room with the worst internet. That's my plan in life. Yeah, at least I do my work from the kitchen, which has good internet. I just didn't want to be in the kitchen anymore. I've been in the kitchen for like 3 weeks straight.
There you go.
All right, so next idea. Does someone else want to throw out an idea, or am I just going to throw them all out?
So, my other thing is I actually want to try to catch up on some of the Transformers video games. Like, I wanted to go back to Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron games on Now the only trouble with that is you actually have to go track them down if you don't still have them on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. Unfortunately, but they're like they're super cheap if you actually want to go track it down.
You can still download that, right?
I don't think you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Activision lost the rights to the Transformers. So you could, I think they redid, on the PlayStation 4, you could download, I think it was Fall of Cybertron, maybe?
There's one of them, yeah.
There's one of them. I think that's the one that was. But yeah, if you want both games, you have to, invest in a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. So, but I actually ended up doing that for Christmas this year. I rebought one for like $80 or whatever, and then bought those games for like, I don't know, $5 or $10 a piece. So,
what you could do is you could find a ROM of the NES Transformers game from Japan that is so wonderfully made and one of the best NES games ever, and you could play that until you beat it. You would pretty much be busy until the quarantine was over. It's very difficult and hard to play. Just FYI. It's not actually good. I was lying.
Well, there you go. So,
but it's
She's
fun.
testing our sanity. Are you just trying to do like a study on us to see like what it takes for somebody to go insane? And
No. I many times I played that game for fun, Sean. Many times.
Isn't Triptychon like the final boss or something?
I thought the final boss was a blob, but it's been forever. I remember like when at TFCon 2016 they did a competition where everybody lined up and they just all lined up and tried to get as far as they could in that game. And I think the person who won made it to like the second level because no one knew what they were doing. It was funny. I thought it was funny.
Don't forget about the Devastation game, which is actually our most recent one. I think I still have that on disc, so I can like pop it in any time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can no longer download that either.
Right.
Yeah.
If you bought
I
it,
through that, like,
you
twice.
can still re-download it if you bought it already. But yeah, you can't like buy it new. So.
And I think it was free on PSN a while back for people who subscribe to PSN. So you might have grabbed it at that point. It's definitely worth playing. That game was fun.
Yeah.
As long as you like your simple beat 'em up style action games.
Right.
I found it pretty difficult, at least at first. Then it took me a while to get it. I never played Bayetta or whatever it was like originated it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are actually the type of games I play, so it was a lot easier than those silly shooter games.
Yeah. Yeah, the combat and the weapon upgrades and weapon buildings kind of it gets pretty deep if you want to go into that, but the easy mode is really easy, but like the commander mode, which is hard, is super challenging. So it's definitely worth the play.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's like the storyline plays out like a cheesy G1 episode, whereas like the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games actually had like good stories.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a cheesy G1 storyline.
It was cheesier. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. But it did have all the voice actors. It was like an episode of G1 was like back, in a playable episode of G1. There was a lot of good stuff about that.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, I hope that they actually end up doing another video game because I mean the ones they've done have been pretty good. So.
It's like they went to using mobile only, like mobile download games, and I'd like to see another console game.
Yeah, there's that Earth Wars game is still pretty popular, right? Among the Transformers nerds.
Yeah, I never got into that.
I played it for a while. I never spent a cent on it, but I used to play. I played Clash of Clans for like a year and a half because a bunch of people I worked with played it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! We can all do it together." And so I sort of got the gist of what they were trying to get you to spend money in that game. That's the whole thing is about that. So when Earth Wars came out, I was like, "Oh, no way, not happening." So
it's free to play and pay to win.
And it's the same thing with that other game, Forged to Fight.
Yeah.
Like the reason to play the game is to see the new assets, like the new characters that they roll out every once in a while. And if you're in a clan, it's like it can just be your like weird phone thing you do. It's like instead of Candy Crush, you're playing Earth Wars. So I wouldn't knock those games. It's just they're not for me. But if you like,
they're fine.
If you like the clan idea, and there's lots of people that like actually make friends playing those kind of games and stuff. So there's definitely a social aspect. It's definitely a time sink too. So if you want to give it a shot, go ahead. You're a little behind though if you're starting now, because people have been playing that shit for years.
Yeah. I actually just started it because I've been playing Simpsons Tapped Out for like 8 years now or something like that, and I was like, I probably should do a new game. So
yeah, it's funny because I came up with those games, or I wanted to mention those games and say that they were okay, but I'm definitely not going to play them because there's a new Final Fantasy one that just came out. That one's a lot more interesting to me.
What?
It's called War of the Visions. It's fun if you like Final Fantasy Tactics specifically. Like that's my area of Final Fantasy land that I like the most. But there's always games like that to play that you can find. That one actually has the storyline, so I'm trying to tell myself I'm just in it for the story and I'm not going to become addicted to it and spend money on it or anything, but we'll see how that goes. But there's Transformers ones, so you can find those too.
Yeah. Are you still playing Earth Wars, Sean, or did you quit?
I looked at it for like all of a couple hours. I haven't been back. Like, I just can't get into mobile games. Forged to Fight, had me kind of hooked just because I like the art, and it was, it was fun to play. But once you got to a certain level, it was just, okay, everybody is now sea spray, 3 sea sprays. So, they'd find little loopholes, and it ate away at the fun. I'd just like a console game where you can go through a story mode and either play by yourself or, play against other people.
I got kicked out of my clan for not participating enough one weekend after like 30 weekends of totally busting ass. So I was like, I'm done with this crap. Forget it.
Sounds like the right way to do it.
Damn you, Triptychon team.
Another weird version of trying to play games online with your friends is you could, and we tried this once and it was super awkward, but I think we could do it better. But you could get into the old card game and play that on webcams with your friends. There are ways to mount a webcam down to face down over a tabletop so that you could see like the playing field and actually play the TCG, which is actually quite decent, with your friends. I have always encouraged people to try it, but nobody tries it, so I don't know how well it would actually work.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that a lot of people play it online, like, and stream it to YouTube, so, I mean, there must be somebody doing it, but I know, like, our local trading card group, we haven't really tried it yet. Like, we kind of suggested, oh, yeah, we should do it online, and then no one has actually done anything online, so...
Yeah, I think it would work fine. I think you would need to set up something of your own that does a good job of actually showing the battlefield. Like, you would need to build that and have a good webcam and have, like, it clear where you can see all the cards. You couldn't half-ass it because then you'd have, it just wouldn't be fun not to be able to see the other person's screen. But I'm pretty sure you could pull it off.
Yeah.
You put a little time into it. Probably more effort than you want to put out, but what else are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the card game in general, like, it's pretty easy to pick up and play, like, comparative to some other card games. So, I mean, you can definitely, get some packs or whatnot and start building a deck, and it's pretty easy to start, so.
Yeah, you ran me through it in, like, an hour and a half. That one time at a meetup, it wasn't that hard to grasp. I mean, it's you definitely want to be Devastator and play against Anna, but
that was quite the game. That was like the longest slog I've ever been through. Where the 2 people we were teaching half paid attention. I mean, it was great. It's so much fun, Sean. Let's do it again.
Yeah, you just don't want to play against Anna.
My son was there. He was bored.
Oh, whatever.
So
You think I'm slow, but it's just
Anna
my
like
bed.
Anna's like the slowest card player, and she makes like
She
the
was
decks.
really slow.
She makes the decks that are like the slow, like whatever the slowest way to play the game is. Like that's what she does. So she'll make like there's so that you can make either aggressive decks or defensive decks and all that. And she makes like the hardest core defensive deck that she can just to like mess with people. And so then like she'll come over for a card night, and like 2 hours later she's still playing the game. So, everybody else like has like these like 10-15 minute games, and then there's Anna over there in the corner. So
But you see what the thing is, I win, and therefore my win-loss rate stays high. So it doesn't get corrupted with all these quick games.
there you go.
Just can't be messed with that. But in my defense, I want to say that back when I used to play Magic, all my decks were super fast. I always played the like win in 2 or 3 turns type of decks. So
So you were a
not
cheater.
typical of me. No, I wasn't a cheater. I was just mean and vicious.
No mana win.
Fun. And that's not
Channel
quite
Fireball.
That, I mean, I got it just a little bit too late for that, but that would have been my jam for sure. I would have loved it. It's horrible. Anyway, we're going to start to talking about card games that this show is not about. So, should we segue back to Transformers?
We were talking about the Transformers card game, so
I know, but Paul and I are talking about Magic.
I will say one thing that's like that is somewhat disappointing is they actually pushed back the launch date of the newest wave. So it was supposed to come out on April 17th, but they actually moved it to the end of May to May 29th. So this we'll see if they keep that date. So because I mean, obviously the card shops, they can ship the cards to you. But they're probably going to not get as many sales from people if they're, someone has to go online and order the stuff. It's kind of the same way with comic books as well. The comic books, I think Diamond actually is not printing any more comic books right now. Like starting, like I think whatever they have in their warehouse right now, they're shipping out. And then whatever, like they're not printing anything for at least right now, which is
Diamond prints the comics.
Well, I guess whoever prints the comics. I know Diamond distributes it, but like they announced, whoever is printing it or whatever, that they're pausing on that right now.
The gist is no more comics from Diamond.
Yeah,
distributors.
Yeah, for them.
But now's a good time to use your comic book reading app. And buy download the IDW app and buy the whole series of Transformers and skip the newest series, but read Galaxies. So
yeah,
the newest series is good.
I mean, you're right about that, Sean. But like, if a lot of people that have been resisting using like Comixology and stuff suddenly use it, and they're like, "Oh, this is great!" Like when those comic shops open again, like no one's gonna come back.
It's great, but it's not. I mean, it's great in the fact that you can bring your comic books to work with you and read your comic books on, if you have to take a number 2. But it's not great if you're trying to read the comic book, at home whenever you could have a paper book open and look at it, because you gotta expand it and flip around, and it's.
I don't know. I mean, like
it gets tedious.
You listen to vinyl records.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
But, another way you could use the app is just Bluetooth your phone to your big screen at home and just read the comic off the big screen. I've done that. That's nice.
You could.
So I was going to say, with the comics, like I actually like originally tried out like Comixology, and like they would do these like humble bundles too, like with all the IDW comics. And so I got all that. And that's what kind of got me into it. But then I actually prefer reading the paper copies to like reading them on the on the screen. So I don't mind reading books like on my iPad or whatever, but for whatever reason I just don't like reading the comics. And I think it's like you were saying, Sean, we had to kind of zoom and pinch and all that I kind of just like to have the art and like the actual comic page like looks so graphically rich that like I like to actually get that page in my hand as well. So
Yeah, I understand that. We have a couple of questions in the chat that people put out there about just the animated show being pushed back and things like that. And we haven't heard anything about that, right? So there should be a new cartoon eventually.
The show
Yeah,
is not.
Netflix.
The show is coming out on Netflix. There's no reason they would push that back.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah, I thought was the announced date like was it May? Was that right?
Coming soon.
Yeah, it said coming soon.
Yeah,
I
when it
believe-
comes out though.
It's July, I think. I believe that's what I remember, but that's kind of coming off the top of my head.
When that thing
Okay.
comes out, we should definitely have a Discord watch party for it.
And I
Well, that's
know,
why
like,
we need to figure it out now, so we can do it like for real then.
No, you're right, because it'll be
'Cause
super
that-
fun because we could all be disappointed together.
Because that'll be important. Like when it all
It's
happens
only
at
6
once.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
we
everyone
go-
will be
it'll
disappointed
be a
for
short
3
time of
hours.
disappointment.
We can do it we could do it in 2 hours, like on the first night it's out. That'd be awesome.
That's right. Like watch it like a movie together.
Mhm.
And we could all like have communal popcorn.
so
Great.
have we actually gotten an official announcement that the toys were pushed back? Because I haven't. I mean, I know at least on the Walmart app that it's still saying April, like in the.
All I saw, like, yeah, because it was supposed to be April 1st, and the last I looked, because
Gotcha.
I saw this, right, I saw this rumor that they had been pushed back, and I'm just going to check right now, because I pre-ordered a lot of those.
I mean,
and
not-
I think it just moved to April 4th, and I was like,
Yeah.
like
Not,
that's
not that it like like none of the dates on the apps really matter though anyway, because it's not like, I mean, I think I've had, I can't remember, there was some Transformers I ordered online through the Walmart app, and like they literally never came, and I actually saw them in stores, and I ended up picking them up in the store because it never actually shipped to me. So, but yeah, so I don't know.
All of a
like,
sudden, my app says you can't see it, it's just white screen, but it says you have no orders, so I'm going to check on my browser.
yeah,
That should be exciting.
I was gonna say, I mean, when I checked it earlier today myself, and it was still said that, but again, like I know they're showing up in Asia, like pretty much now. So I don't
Canada.
know. That may be that they're pushed back then, because usually stuff shows up in Asia like 2 months before it's in the U.S. Right?
Well, not when it's
Not
exclusive
always.
like this. Like this should only be like through Walmart's supply chain, and sometimes that's when it's exclusive. Like sometimes it doesn't get out like that. But Hong Kong's a crazy place, so who knows? I saw they were showing up at Canada.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The Voyagers were found in Canada, and if they're in Canada,
Yeah,
like,
Ron
they're
just
in
did
the
the
United
same
States.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting and all.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to wait 3 months to open our box, right? For not to spoil the Ultraman.
Oh,
Except
yeah.
for like the pictures already got posted
Bad
on Facebook
paint
like
Yeah,
today.
images came out like today.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan
It's
of
so
paint scheme.
spoily.
Yeah, my stuff says arrives by Friday,
Yeah.
so
It'll be interesting to see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think Walmart has ever hit a date that it says in these things. It's always like, oh, it's going to take a while. And I'm like, great. And it shows up a month later. So grain of salt. The problem is right now I can't run to the store and, fix the pre-orders I didn't get. So
I was gonna say though, if somebody was looking for new robot toys to order and they missed the C-Cons, a couple of them are up right now, right? On Pulse?
yeah.
You can
Yeah,
get
Yeah, I don't know if
Turtler
they
and
sold out
somebody
yet
else.
or not.
Yeah, because it appears that Hasbro finally got their own stock of the Japanese exclusives, and so now they must be in their warehouse and they have the final counts, so their pre-orders are done. They're like, hey, we have enough to make some more orders, or people
They're
cancel.
still calling them pre-orders though. Like when I saw
but
it was still a pre-order, so we'll see how long it takes to actually get sent to your house.
I would imagine it'll be in the next week or so, because I know people have said that they've gotten notifications that their pre-orders are shipping.
Yeah,
The
I was gonna
C-Cons
say
will definitely
mine
come out
actually
before
already
Unicron.
shipped, and mine's coming on Thursday. So
So if you missed Turtler, you might have a chance for Turtler.
Turtler.
what's the other one? I can't remember. Is it Snapchat?
Golf. It's golf.
It's Golf.
Or Overbite was maybe his real name, or I don't know. I don't know the sea.
Golf and Turtler.
Well, I know something.
It's Turtler and
I know. Switching subjects slightly. I don't know if that's appropriate, but like I know something you can do while you're stuck at home, and Sean might be ready to talk about this, but
Me too.
Yeah.
you
Is that what you're
can
about to pull out?
make your own little dudes.
You can. That's a nice looking dude.
No, it's
What is he? What is he?
don't worry about it. It's just it's not finished.
I know what it's for.
The garbage. He's got a big fist.
Does have a big fist. That was like the best thing about Combiner Wars was sticking the fist on their hands.
On Rook's
Like the
hands.
highlight. Yeah, to have Rooks run around with Hulk hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like you can mess around and part swap your toys and make customs if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, there's
spray
many
all the
ways to make
bots gold.
customs.
Well, you know, and
Yeah.
since we keep getting the same characters over and over and over again, you can actually take your old characters and make those into, or new ones, whichever one you don't like as much, and make that into
Yeah.
custom fodder.
Yep.
So, I actually think the
Yeah.
Combiner Wars is probably better, or like some of the older ones, just because they all the figures are on ball joints, whereas like the new ones are on universals. It's like, I don't know, Sean. I guess you tell me. Is it easier to custom some of the older figures or the newer ones?
Well, I did Cliff Jumper and Optimus in a more accurate paint scheme, and so far it seems like the pins are pretty easy to come out. There's a few that'll give you some trouble, but I mean, as long as you find the side that's barbed and punch it out from the side that's barbed outward, it'll come out pretty easy.
So when you say pin, punch it out, what is the best way to punch out a pin from a figure?
The best way to punch out a pin is with the pin punch. If I can find it.
This is a manual. This is a tool that you put in the pin and then use a hammer. He might have like
They have
might
an
have the
automatic.
puncher.
They have a punch, yeah.
Yeah, they have an automatic one, but sometimes that's not powerful enough. So I just find, you can get a punch from. This one is a Starrett 1/16 to it's a 1.5 millimeter, but that seems like it's a pretty basic pin size. And a small hammer. I mean, you gotta be really careful because if it's clear plastic, you can crack it, or if it's just a thin piece of plastic, you can break it. So you just have to be careful and watch what you're doing.
I feel like actually the harder thing for me is with some of the screws that come in figures. Like, so whenever there was like an upgrade kit for the Combiner Wars Optimus Prime to upgrade them into like an IDW version, right? And I actually had the hardest time with the screws just because it's like really easy to strip those screws if you're not careful.
You have to be real careful and calm with them.
So
Make sure your screw tip matches the actual screw.
Yeah, because if you have the wrong size, you can shred it pretty easily.
mhm.
Yeah, and then you're just in trouble. So it's no fun.
Or you don't even have to take it apart. You could just hand paint it. I mean, that's what we did in one of the custom classes.
And
And that was fun. And they turned out okay. It was the G2 Grimlocks. And, yeah.
we took that thing apart.
Ball joints. I mean, other than that, it was together.
Oh,
We didn't push any pins. We just popped
no,
ball
Sean,
joints
it was
off.
way too much effort. Never again.
Yeah, sometimes I have to remind myself that you don't need to take it all the way apart.
Mhm.
You don't have to, no.
I mean, it seems like you should sometimes, but you really don't. I've recently been doing a lot of Combiner Wars molds, and so I've actually been punching a lot of the pins to get like mixing and matching the joints of different toys to see what works and what doesn't. And believe it or not a lot of the Combiner Wars toys are interchangeable. Some of them have ball joints in different spots, like the opposite of where you want it. Like I was trying to take some of the jet arms and put them on the motorcycle guy, and the way the mushroom pegs are is inverted. Like the elbow has the female on one and the male on the other, and I was like, God, because I really wanted the color of that elbow on this thing, and it didn't work. So there are a lot of differences. As much as people want to say they're all the same, like 3 molds, they totally are not. They just share a lot of skeleton. And there's actually a lot of ingenuity going on in between them. So you wouldn't know until you try to take them apart. Now here's something, Sean, that I use. Like, this is really...
Is that a pet rock?
You're going to laugh at this. This is a kneadable eraser.
Yeah.
So this is like a kind of an art tool. But I use this as like my pin punch mold thing.
That's perfect.
When I get a weird part, because I don't have a wood block or anything. Like, I am just really ghetto. And I just
just use your legs.
Yeah, there you go.
You'll know whenever the pin comes out.
But I use this kneadable eraser all the time to get like really weird like curves and stuff to stay standard and try to punch those pins out, and it makes it so much easier. And it's just a little piece of like almost like clay that it has just enough like stick to it that it'll mold to your part pretty easily. So go look for
that will help keep from breaking small parts and. Yeah, it's good. Another way you could customize if you don't feel like putting paint to plastic is stickers. I actually went through and dug out a bunch of my old Ripper Label sets I haven't actually put on for years, and I put them with the figures, and that's a little project I'm going to do. Just kind of, it's nice and relaxing to just put stickers on.
Yeah, they're still sending them out right now, right?
They are, in fact.
I think so.
I just got the Optimus Prime, the sticker set for the Earthrise Optimus Prime.
You're going to defile your sweet Earthrise Optimus Prime?
I am, yes. The trailer. So, Paul, like, how do you, can you go over, like, how you dye plastic? Because Rodimus was asking that in the chat. Is there
boiling water?
Any good YouTube videos on that or anything? Or?
Every year that I do this, I'm like, this year I'm going to make a how-to. I'm going to make a video. And you know what? It is such a maddening process sometimes. Like the other day, I got a new toy that I was getting. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to dye this thing black, and it's going to look so awesome. I'm just going to dye the whole thing black. And I tried to do it, and oh my God, it did not work. I melted the crap out of it, and it didn't take the dye at all. It just looked, I was so frustrated. Like, only 3 or 4 little parts that, like, are inside the plastic turned black. And I'm like, you mother. Because you can get anything to dye black. It just might not be the same thing when it comes out.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing doesn't transform anymore. It doesn't even come together. It's just like a garbled mess. So it's really a frustrating process, and that's why there's not a lot of actual like how-tos and stuff, because there's so many things to explain to give. It's so much trial and error, and like the only reason I'd go through this process is because I make multiples of the same custom. So it's worth figuring out, because it saves so much time and it looks so much better. But like for one individual toy, hell no would I ever do dyeing. Because you almost have to have one that you're willing to destroy to figure out what you can actually get away with.
That's right. So
like, let me show you one thing. All these parts on this Optimus screen, please ignore the bad paint I put on the windows. I was trying to like mimic Windows. It looks so bad. I ruined the custom. But there's these parts, lots of parts in the Seeker are red, but there were certain ones that are only gray. But I dyed them red. And unfortunately, it turned out a little maroon. It didn't, I don't think you're ever going to get it as bright as this, because the dyeing process is only additive, meaning it can only get darker. It never gets lighter than what the original color was. Mm-hmm. So even if these parts were white, they would still have probably turned out this color. If I got a brighter red dye, which I did get, I might be able to make them look a little better. But all these parts are the type of plastic that takes the dye easily, meaning you don't have to heat it up like to melting point for the pores to open for it to suck in the pigment. So certain parts, once you know what that plastic is, super easy to dye. You're never going to worry about melting them because you never have to get it that hot. You don't have to get it like 100 degrees or something, and it will soak up the dye. But you really don't know that until you've done it a few times, and you know it's like the feel of the plastic is different. And I don't know. Do you know how to explain it, Sean? You know something about this, right?
Yeah, the feel of the plastic. Like if you hold SSX, what is it? Swerve. That feels like crap. And if you hold, a better toy, it doesn't feel like a soap.
So what you're saying, if the toy feels like crap, so like Cyberverse.
If it feels like crap, don't bring it up to boiling.
So you're saying like Cyberverse figures might be perfect for dyeing? Is that what we're saying?
Hey.
Or?
You're so at work in Cyberverse, Lucas. You're so wrong.
Well, something I used to do was I would strip all the paint before I dyed it, and I quit doing that because sometimes the paint comes up with it like soaks up the dye in weird ways, and you get these really cool like colors you weren't expecting. Here's a dye job that I knew all these parts would dye. I didn't know how good they would take this, but I'm really happy with this one. This is almost like one of my best. This is my most successful dye job. I tried purple on these gray parts, and look at how close it is to like the head of Blot there. Like it almost looks like that's the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth.
And so all these parts that are purple now, they are. I don't know if it's like I know these hard ones are ABS, and then there's a softer plastic that they use when they're connecting like ABS to something else that's going to be on a spinny or on a pivot or something. Usually the things in between two ABS parts are the dyeable parts, like the shoulder joints look like that. The combiner port is like that. It's because they have a little more give in them. So like anything that's going to slot in or like a pressure point, those are typically made of that type of plastic, and those dye really easily. Anyways, if you got a lot of time on your hands, you can destroy your toys and figure out which parts dye really easily.
There you go.
So you put them in water. You get it pretty close to boiling, and you put the RIT dye in, which is made for fabric. And some people say you put salt in the water. I don't know if it works or not. And then you can put your pieces in there. I would recommend having a strainer, so you can just dump the water out, and then all the parts don't go down the drain. And if you want
coloring eggs.
Yeah. Just don't use egg crepes
or
whatever.
You can. Just wash
Really?
it off after you're done. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't dye. I don't like to dye. It's not fun.
It's hard. And it's messy, and it's a potential for like real big disasters to happen wherever you're dyeing. So
yeah, but if you have like 50 of the same part, you might as well. I mean, it makes more sense because you don't have to worry about covering each nuance of the mold, and it makes sense to you like that.
So, I want to say after this crash course in dyeing, Paul dyes figures. And Sean makes some really good, like, full customs. Or doesn't. He shook his head.
Yeah, you do. Show them off.
Okay.
Let me grab my Optimus.
Yes, please.
Oh, you're roboting now, Anna.
That's okay. Sean's going to talk for a second, and then I'm going to talk after I'm done roboting.
Here's my Optimus.
Can you look at that?
Wow.
Colored his little eyes so he doesn't just have a big blue spot in the middle of his eyeballs. Turned his elbows red, made his pants white, made his boots blue. Blue, I would tell you guys what blue to use, but I mean, as you can see, it doesn't perfectly match, and that's because I didn't want to make a trip to the store, so I did basically a darker blue with a lighter blue on top, and then just kind of mix and matched and kind of blended colors, and it finally turned out pretty close. But yeah, he's I'm a lot more happy with this look than the gray pants and the.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Really
Maybe
nice.
I can
it does.
look forward to that in when Walmart does their exclusive Earthrise Optimus Prime in cell shaded colors.
I hope they do, but I kind of did the same thing with the old Cliff Jumper. Painted that big black stripe across the front, red. Got rid of the silver stripe across where the bumper go, or where the exhaust goes, and made that red with silver exhaust tips, and just kind of made his pants gray instead of just all black. And his shoulders, they're painted gray. I think they come gray. Yeah, they come painted gray. But if you just take some alcohol, which you can't buy now, if you take some alcohol and soak, or red, yeah, you can just soak them in alcohol, and the red comes off and black is underneath.
That's how I got these red shoulders on Prime. Those are usually white on Red Wing.
Oh yeah.
I just dip them in the.
Yep. Yeah, but do disassemble. And if you guys do go to use that alcohol on him, be careful, because this is red plastic, but it's also red paint on top of the red plastic for some reason.
Interesting.
So be careful.
So when you're doing that, like what processes do you use to get? Do you take them apart and then paint the parts individually? Or I know it's probably a figure by figure situation, but are you using an airbrush or just like a paintbrush?
It's definitely figure by figure with him. I used rattle can primer and paintbrush. With Prime, I used I hand painted his boots. I mostly disassembled him from the legs down, but in order to get his crotch apart, to actually get his legs all the way apart, there's 2 pins, and they're like impossible to get to because you can't get to him from the front side. And the pin is way recessed here, and there's a bigger one just above it. So they really did try to build these to where you can't, just easily take them apart yourself. But his kneecaps are flipped up. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it just depends figure to figure, and it depends on how deep you want to go. If you're going to do a full figure repaint, I always, I rattle can primer the figure after I disassemble it, so you can, get an even paint, and then I airbrush. So, but if I'm just going to do like a little paint update, a lot of times it's just hand paints or rattle can for, big pieces.
So what does the primer do? Because I've never used it.
You've never used primer?
No.
Oh, well, that's good if you have, like, say you have 2 different colors of plastic that you want to, turn a different color and have it look the same shade. If you spray it gray first, you have a nice solid color canvas to paint on. So, if you spray yellow over the top of it, you're going to get the same color yellow on both upper and lower portion. Or
I guess I'm always worried it's going to make like an extra millimeter of difference and make it like rub off when you transform it or something.
It does, and that's where all the the thing that sucks about customs is all the prep. So if you don't sand parts down that are going to glide against each other, like whenever you transform it, they'll have paint rub. And that's why whenever you add the couple millimeters of paint on top of it, you want to make sure you sand down pegs or places where things slide against each other. That way it allows for that, thicker portion.
Now, like, after you paint it, Sean, do you put clear coat on any of the figures, like, on top, too, to kind of help protect the paint, or?
Yeah, he has a flat clear coat, so it matches, the bare plastic that I haven't painted. But if I had gloss, it would have been really weird. It would have been, like, shiny from the waist down. Or if I didn't do any kind of clear coat, I'd be afraid to transform him because, over time you will get scuffs and marks if you actually touch your toys.
Well, see, you could just do like me, what I did in the TFCon custom class, where you just do washes on top of the figure, And so that way you kind of give them battle damage anyway. So in that way it doesn't matter. Like it all blends in, and you can kind of any of the paint, like say if you don't do a great job painting it, like if you're doing a wash and whatnot on top, it kind of can mask some of that.
Yeah, no, it can, and that's a good way to go about it too. If you just don't have the patience, go for a battle worn look, and
Yeah. And I'll say if you actually do
parts, make it look like it's metal coming through.
I was gonna say too, if you do your own battle damage, it actually looks better than what Hasbro did in Siege.
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, if you clear coat after you're done, I mean, you can pretty much transform it. As long as you let things cure, you can pretty much transform it without having to worry too much about any kind of excess scrapage from handling or parts. So,
how long does it take for it to cure?
Yeah, it takes. It just depends on the paint. Acrylics, if you guys are going to paint, don't use enamels. I mean, I start out using enamels, but it's caustic and it stinks and it's unhealthy.
I tried enamels first too. Whoops.
Yeah, no, acrylics are so nice because like the first time I used them was, years ago when we were doing that custom class. I'm like, wow, this dries really quick. It sucks for the paintbrushes because you got to continuously clean your paintbrush, but I mean, it dries quick. You can just go from one color to the next and pretty much finish the whole project within, the time you want to work on it, rather than waiting, 3 or 4 days for your paint to cure out if you're using enamel. So, I'm no pro by any means, but I mean, this is just what I've learned, kind of trial and error. But
I think you're pretty good.
That's good. I think you're pretty good too.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, so I mean, I can transform him back and forth without having to worry too much. But yeah, he's coated with flat clear coat.
I think that's a risk you run into when you customize, is you might actually end up messing up the other mode if you're focusing on just one.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be pretty funny.
That's why you got to make a sample first before you make 20.
That's right.
I was thinking about tackling Nemesis Prime in this mold, kind of going with like the devastation look.
That'd be fun.
So I haven't
buy the one from
committed to
Japan.
doing no, but that's the Siege.
Yeah, you're right.
Earthrise. So
you know it's coming.
And the Devastation game, I mean, this is such a close look to the Devastation game. So I've been on the Devastation game trip for a little while.
So I want to say before we finish up the customs topic, Paul talked about dyeing, which is complicated. Sean talked about, actually disassembling and planning and making everything really nice and whatnot. I know a lot of people get intimidated when they hear this big process from customs and whatnot. But I'm going to offer just a version of customization that pretty much any of you could do. If a lot of you who watch the show and a lot of people on the cast, they buy, the Hasbro stuff that comes out. They buy all the random figures. And Hasbro has been gracing us for a few years now and this is actually a bad example because it has some paint, but with figures like this are really small Titan Masters that have a lot of molded detail, have a lot of stuff going on them, a lot of places where there could be different colors, but they don't. Especially some of the Titan Master vehicles were really on painted and really on colored. So if you want somewhere to practice where you really can't make it any worse, that's a good place to practice, is little figures like this, because they're really inexpensive. And if you've been buying Siege and Earthrise, you have a lot of these guys. And it's funny because I have the most detailed one on my desk right here. You have a lot of Target Masters that have, 2 specks of paint on them, on the whole figure. They have nice sculpted arms and legs that obviously have different thighs and toes and all sorts of stuff with no color to them. So you have free reign to just, put little bits of paint on. And some people use paint markers of various sorts and Gundam markers are popular for people who want to do things like this, just small details. And just doing a few small details and something like this can just make it a lot more fun. You know, it's like how I really prefer the LG, the Legends, the Japanese Target Masters over these ones. It isn't the articulation. It isn't the character selection. It's literally just that they have like 3 more specks of paint on them. They just look a little bit better. So, you know, that's my recommendation for what you could do, because it's not, you know, this big project or anything. It's just a way to spruce up something small of yours. See? More versions of paint markers.
I got these from Hobby Lobby for $12.99, but 40% off if you use the app. But, I mean, the .05 is the, like, smallest, and that's, like, the type you want to use to panel line. And also it comes with the brush here and just kind of bigger sizes in between. So, I mean, it's a good little starter set if you want to do panel lining. And that is a fun way to kind of bring out a detail, like Anna said.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
A good point in the chat real fast was that if you're even nervous about practicing on a $6 figure, you can run to a Dollar Tree and buy a $1 robot, because that's the brand that they literally are. It's just robots. And you can get some practice painting that. Yeah, you get those too. You get the keychainers.
Yep.
Also $1. Also good practice.
Giving away all my secrets tonight. But I'm glad you brought that up, Anna. It's weird because I never thought of it this way, because Hasbro never like makes a point to say this. But like they should almost release blank versions of toys and be like, this is your blank canvas. Because that's kind of what those tiny turbo changers feel like. Because I was like, who cares about those? Until I saw like some people that went all out with them and painted them up, and I was like, oh my god, those look amazing. When they actually look like Optimus Prime is a blue truck with 2 red flames on it. You know, the little squishy movie one. But when you paint it up with chrome and all the colors he's supposed to look like, I'm like, oh my god, I want that. All of a sudden, even though it's a little, you know, $1.99 toy. And it's almost like maybe they were hinting at like, yeah, paint by numbers on this thing if you want. Like, have at it. We didn't bother putting paint on it, so you can. But they don't actually ever say that. So, no, you know, the general public doesn't think to do it unless it's like, you know, someone like Sean maybe that is like, hey, this would be great. This detail is awesome. I want to bring it out.
Yeah, a friend of mine paints his tiny turbo changers, and they just like, whenever he shows them to me, it's like, those aren't the toys they sell in the stores. That's not the thing. And it's like, oh, they are the thing. They're just fixed. That's what I think you could do with these Target Masters, too. Because they're like, I don't hate any of the sculpts. Like, they're fine. It's just like, when I look at them on my shelf, I'm like, ugh, there's no detail on these guys. Except for this one. Like I said, I'm holding up my favorite one.
Yeah.
He was the one that was enraged. But there's so many worse ones that you can spruce up pretty easy. And it's like, literally that kind of custom you could do in an evening. You could just put some specks of paint on it, make it look a little bit better, and be done with it.
And usually, like at the end of a line, when there's like when Earthrise switches to the next one or whatever, a bunch of stuff goes on clearance at like Walmart or Amazon. There's always some store somewhere selling something at like 70% off. If you want something to mess with, grab like 2 of the same figure. So if you mess it up once, you can try again with the second one, and it still costs less than full price. But you gotta be looking around for that, for when the strike while the iron's hot. But it happens.
I was gonna say another project you can do too is the Flames Toys figures that came out. Those the model kits that they have, like, you know, those obviously you can paint those up too, and like those look great as well. Like they come with stickers, but then you know. Yeah, so I think, Anna, you did yours with just the stickers, right?
Yeah, he's just stickers right now, and the stickers are not, like, they're definitely better than the, like, Combiner Wars level stickers that were...
Oh, God, I hope so.
What line was that? Yeah, it was Combiner Wars through Prime. They're definitely better than that, but they're not wonderful. Like, they look okay. Like, his arm guards are all stickers. They look alright, but these figures definitely look amazing if they're properly painted. Even if you just do like a Gundam marker detailing on them, it really helps the figures out, like makes them look really nice. But you know, you can do that on your little figures as well. Just give some detail and spruce them up a little bit. And, it gives you something to do. And if you do a bunch of them, say like you actually went through into the details on all your Titan Masters, you would get a lot better at customs just by doing that. And then you might get brave enough to do a deluxe or something. Because I think this is going to be my first quarantine project is fixing him. Because I detest how much red's on him. He needs some gray or something. Because I really like this toy. It's really cool.
I didn't watch that episode. I need to.
The Hot Rod episode?
I saw Cyberverse. I'm like,
oh, come on, Sean. It was a good episode. We talked about two perfectly good toys that a bunch of people are skipping.
I have Cyberverse Hammerbite, and he's really cool. But
dude, look at that! Look how cool!
Yeah. I love doing
monkey
lime
dude.
green. Lime green just makes everything look so much cooler. You're muted. I heard that.
I don't know what that was.
Well, yeah, this is a paint stripped one, and by the end of it, then I dyed it all black. Mm-hmm. So it was like this is a multi-step process.
So is he different shades of black, or is he all the same color?
He's just all the same. It looks like it's molded all the same color. But then I used some airbrushing to do some like kind of splatter stuff on him, so he's not a little more artsy than I would usually get. This is rare.
It doesn't have to be super hard, super detailed. It could just be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. It's your toys. You can do whatever you want.
That's the thing, like your customs. Like if you decide to custom over this quarantine for more fun, just remember, like you're not gonna sell your customs. You're not gonna do your first custom ever and put it on eBay for $200. You're gonna make your custom. You're gonna put it on your shelf, and you're gonna like it yourself. Maybe you can make someone a custom for their birthday or something. They may or may not hate you for it if it's really terrible. But it's for you. You make these customs for yourself, to show your friends, to play with. So just have fun with it.
Have you guys seen those Transformers sweatsuits that they're selling?
Yeah.
I see it all the time on Facebook. He's been over. It looks like he has one hanging from the back of his chair.
No. This is an actually licensed product from back in the day from Styling.
Okay, yeah, they have like everything. It's crazy. They have like Rhinox and Tigatron, and my son's like, I want Tigatron. I'm like, oh, no, you can't do that because I'm gonna have to get something too.
Get Paul started on the unlicensed clothing items.
But yeah, I'd say that the final thing, too, is you can actually start organizing your collection or work on organizing that. I know that that's one thing I really need to do is to actually clean up and try to figure out what I want and don't want and all that type of thing as well. Dusting.
You have the perfect color of shelves though, Lucas. If you don't want to dust all the time, don't get black shelves because that shows dust so quick.
Right.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what the white shells in general. Like I like those because they pop a little bit more with the figures. Like I feel like a lot of times figures just get kind of lost on black shells, whereas I like white or even like doing the clear detops and whatnot too.
Here's a little quarantine project I worked on. It's just a little prototype, but I'm gonna have to make something clear out of this. But it's a headstand.
Here you go.
Instead of having the heads, all sideways, and wobbled, and they won't stand up straight on a flat surface, I just drilled little holes and made them nice and even.
Those are Titan Masters?
Yeah, these are all like
so
the
cool
heads I had, from the little dudes.
That is super creepy. You need to make that into a display.
Like this is how I want to display them because like a lot of times their like robot mode is totally just not even like characterful. It's just a little brown turd.
You need someone standing beside them with a machete with little blood marks on it.
turtler.
To show how those heads got there.
You could do little energon blood marks off of here and have like lockdown standing in front of this thing.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you could take like Overlord, like display him with him or Lockdown or somebody like that, and throw like a huge trophy case with all the heads.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it, Sean. You made something really twisted when you were trying to make something fun and nice.
I like the heads.
Yeah, Sean, you really know how to get ahead.
The worst part is that was literally in the chat, so it wasn't even an original joke for Lucas there.
No, I know. I'm just reading. I'm reading the chat here, you know. That's all I'm doing.
It's a trophy shelf. Oh, dude, yeah, the wax paper. If you put wax paper on your white shelves, you can just throw out your wax paper every 3 months. And that's what Neuro said. And that's a good idea if you don't want to worry about having to. I mean, you still got to take the figures off the shelf, but if you don't want to have hard to get off dust residue.
I mean, honestly, the collection upkeep is the number one thing we probably should have been talking about, but no one wants to actually do it.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah. And then it's like, and you should definitely upkeep your collection, but
no,
take a couple toys off and transform them, whatever.
Nobody dusts like they should.
I almost never dust.
See?
No, that
ever. I do it once a year when I redo it for my event. That's it.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, if let's say that you do decide you want to dust, take that time to reorganize yourself and kind of update yourself and make it look better. That'll give you an excuse to take all the figures off the shelf anyway. So.
Yeah, that is one thing that I think that if you actually like to rotate your collection, I think that's the one reason to have stuff in storage, just because you can kind of rotate and dust and all that, and so that way you can kind of have a new collection, every whatever. I guess, Paul, you said you do that, right?
Yeah, I try to put a different character up every year. So right now, I had Megatron up, and then I took that mostly down, and now I have all my Nemesis Primes up for some reason. I really shouldn't. I should put them away, and all the stuff on the ground I should put in place of the Nemesis Primes. But it's good. It's good to kind of cycle things out. That's what a museum does. They have so much more stuff you never see that's all packed away, and they rotate the collection of the museum every year or so. So just the same mentality. Yeah, your own curation.
There you go. Give little tours of your collection.
Yeah.
Let's get real.
Hey, you know what?
The only one coming over is you guys.
You make video experiences of your collection and post it online.
At an old house, I used to do that because
it's a joke. Don't do
I
that.
had my collection downstairs, but I had a detail upstairs that the wife would let me put stuff in that was, as long as it was nicer. So I would switch stuff out, and I'd only put 1 or 2 figures per shelf and make it look really nice. And usually it was customs or statues or something until I wised up and got out of the statue game. So
that's a weird question that brings up, Sean. Is that just what spouses do? Do they just let you have one detolf and
upstairs,
put your nice stuff in there? Because that's exactly what my husband did at our old house. He was one detolf, nice toys.
The reason they only give you one is because if they have people come over, then they have to explain why there's toys in the glass case, and sometimes they don't want to, explain why you have 12 detolfs upstairs.
Yeah, I wanted to put a detolf. We have this bathroom upstairs that's it's the half bath, and there's this corner with no space. I was oh, we could put a detolf in there. I could put 2 or 3 nice things. And my wife was no. I was
yeah.
Oh, okay, you're right.
We can give the guests some shit to look at while they're taking a shit. So.
But there's nice corner shelves you can get.
I was gonna say, that's the thing with me. I have a couple shelves in the corner of our family room, with some nice figures and nicely displayed and all that. And then but so most people that come over only see that. they don't see my room down here with like all this stuff, and like obviously like this isn't just it, like there's stuff on the other side. And so when people actually like come down here and like look at my collection room down here, they're like, oh my god, like I didn't
This is unhealthy.
I didn't really, like, because they just like the whole time like they spent like a year looking at this. Oh, you only have like, you know, whatever it is, you know, 20, 30 figures or whatever. Okay, that's healthy. And then they come down here, they're like, oh, Jesus, like.
I got
They
this friend.
stumbled into your room of horrors.
I got this friend that tells this story every time. Like he had like a July barbecue or something, and all his neighbors came over, you know, and they were hanging out. And then he like, you know, they were all having a good time. He was getting drunk, and he decided he would take them down to his basement where he has. It's a small enough basement. It's like, you know, got a TV in it, but like lots of toys, like huge like army builds of like stormtroopers and stuff. And he said he brought them down there. Complete silence. No one even like goes, wow. They just like complete deadpan. And so they just turned around and walked out.
Well, yeah. They could have said something rude, but they decided not to.
Yeah, I think they were just so. I don't know if they've been back to his house or anything, but he's told the story a few times, and it's really good.
It's a good one.
Well, yeah, there's, you know, I don't know if we talked about this at the beginning, but like, you know, we were talking about watching shows, and I've just been notified by my lovely wife that it's time to watch Tiger King.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no.
So yeah, we probably should wrap things up so that Paul
Yeah, we
can watch
should.
Tiger King over there. So
Watching Tiger King and
Yeah,
everybody just think about our ideas. Share your own ideas too. If you have more ideas for how to, you know, spend the time in a Transformers related way that is not super destructive, please let us know.
You
yeah,
can
because we're
always
looking
make a
for
podcast.
ideas. I was gonna say we're looking for ideas ourselves to keep ourselves busy. So
I mean, you could venture outside of Transformers also and enjoy like other video games and Mummies Alive. So.
I'm going to give Mummies Alive a chance. Fighting chance.
That's gonna be the first. That's gonna be the first TFYLP watch party on Discord. It's gonna be Mummies Alive.
You know,
Not an
everyone's
actual
gonna be like,
Transformers cartoon.
holy
Just
crap,
freaking
this Mummies Alive is really
Mummies.
popular. There's more than one person watching.
Forget Transformers. I'm starting a Mummies Alive collection.
It's gonna be Mummies
I don't even
Alive
know-
for your
I don't-
listening pleasure.
I'm not sure if they even have a toy line.
They did. They did.
They did?
oh, there
Well,
you
see,
go.
you act like you didn't know what I was talking about, and you have the toys.
Who, me? I knew what you were talking about. I didn't know what you were trying to describe when you were describing neck things.
Amulets.
Yeah, they're necklaces.
Duh.
All right,
Yeah, come on.
just have fun at home and enjoy your stuff. You know, nobody's really buying new stuff right now.
Not true.
Not nobody.
So
yeah, people are buying stuff.
Not true.
I guarantee sales have dipped. Guaranteed.
It depends.
Not true.
Oh, okay. I don't know, but yeah, if you're like me and not spending all of your money on toys right now, it forces you to enjoy what you have. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a good time to go binge buying. You know, like
yeah,
be smart, like be wise.
be smart.
Have some fun. Don't be wild.
The toys will
Shop
be
smart.
there in a few months when you aren't sure if you can make rent, like in 3
Yeah.
months. So
Right.
enjoy the things you have for now.
While you have them until you have to sell them to pay your rent.
That's why you have to enjoy these dates, because you'd never be able to sell it anyway. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, play X-Men 2 on the Genesis.
Oh, there you go.
It's perfect.
So tomorrow night, Anna, are we doing Wheeljack? Is that right on Microcasters?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Wheeljack
She'll talk about it. I'll
Microcasters
be there.
tomorrow night, Facebook, on our TF Talk Facebook page at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. So check that out. I think we may be doing Ouch My Wallet this week, I believe. So check us out
I hope
Wednesday
so.
night.
I've
No,
been
we'll
dying.
do it. We'll do it anyway, because, I mean, I don't have anything to do, so I can host it if Rob can't, so. As I say, my schedule's clear now. So, surprisingly enough. So
I really want to be on it, and I really want Rob to be on it.
yeah.
I really want
My
Peter
wheel-
to be on it.
All right,
My
we'll
wheeljack's
see.
holding wrenches.
We'll do that, and then let's see. Yeah, then cut the tape. We have cut the tape from last week. Check out TF Talk News as well as Mr. Starscream. An episode just dropped last night, so check that out as well. And am I forgetting anything else?
Discord.
Check out the Discord. The link should be posted with the video. And then also, if you like what we do, consider supporting us on Patreon. Patreon.com/TFYLP. Tiers from $1 on up. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in the chat. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you next week.
Have fun, fellow
Time
kids.
to go burp the baby.